So if you see the uses of this particular isoniazid, as such, like we have discussed that it is an anti-tuberculous drug. Now, apart from this, remember this isoniazid, it is an essential component of multi-drug therapy, right? In case of the multi-drug therapy of tuberculosis, like we give this isoniazid. And not only that, remember this is also the drug of choice for prophylaxis. Alright, this is also the drug of choice for prophylaxis of tuberculosis. And for prophylaxis of tuberculosis, this is used solely. Right, for the prophylaxis of tuberculosis, this is used solely. Next, the another important point is this is also used for the treatment of latent tuberculosis infection. Right, also used for the treatment of latent tuberculosis infection. Now, another important point is that resistance, it occurs due to mutation of these two genes, that is either due to mutation of the KatG or due to the mutation of INHA, right? So if you take the resistance can occur due to mutation of the KatG or due to mutation of the INHA. Now, so if you take the resistance which is occurring due to mutation of the KatG, mutation in KatG is responsible for high level resistance, right? This is responsible for high level resistance. Whereas if you take the mutation in INHA, the resistance which occurs due to mutation in INHA, it confers the cross resistance to the ethionamide, right? So this confers cross resistance. I'll tell you what you mean by the cross resistance. This will confer the cross resistance to the one of the second line anti-tubercular drug which is called as ethionamide. In the sense, a point that you need to remember here is, if the organism is resistant to the isoniazid due to mutation of INHA, the organism will be not only resistant to the INH, but the organism will also be resistant to the ethionamide as well. That is what you mean by it confers cross resistance to the ethionamide. Now whenever there is toxicity of this particular isoniazid, what is the important adverse effect? Remember, if you take the adverse effect, it causes the peripheral neuritis, and this peripheral neuritis can be prevented by and treated by the pyridoxine, right? So the adverse effects, it includes the peripheral neuritis, and this peripheral neuritis, it can be prevented or it can be treated by supplementation of the pyridoxine. Now, another important adverse effect apart from this peripheral neuritis is the hepatotoxicity. Alright, so remember, this particular isoniazid, it is also the hepatotoxic drug. Now, the another important point is that apart from hepatotoxicity, this particular isoniazid can also cause hemolysis in G6PD deficient patients, right? It also causes hemolysis in G6PD deficient patients. Next, another important adverse effect, that is the hemolysis. Now you take this hepatotoxicity. The incidence of hepatotoxicity increases with age. The incidence of hepatotoxicity increases with daily alcohol consumption, and the incidence of hepatotoxicity is more in the postpartum period, that is up to 3 months. Okay, so the incidence of this particular hepatotoxicity, it increases with age of the individual. It increases with daily alcohol consumption. Right, it increases with daily alcohol consumption. And another important point is this particular hepatotoxicity is more in the postpartum period. Right, it is more in the postpartum period, that is up to 3 months. Now, another important point is that this particular isoniazid will not only inhibit the mycolic acid synthesis within the mycobacterial organism, this isoniazid, it also inhibits a monoamino oxidase A enzyme in the humans, and because of that, in the humans, it can also result in the cheese reaction. Alright, so this isoniazid will also inhibit monoamino oxidase A, and because of the inhibition of this particular monoamino oxidase A, it can result in the cheese reaction. Right, it can result in the cheese reaction. Now, apart from this, if you take the adverse effects, the other adverse effects include rash, fever, anemia, right? Apart from all those, like rash, fever, anemia, and there is also a visual disturbance, right? Visual disturbance in the form of optic atrophy. And apart from this particular optic atrophy, the CNS effects in the form of seizures. Now, this isoniazid, it is metabolized by acetylation, and the slow acetylators, if you see, they develop a very important adverse effect, that is lupus-like syndrome. So, lupus-like syndrome is very much seen in case of slow acetylators, because in slow acetylators there is development of toxicity, right? And the other adverse effects are psychosis and as well as gynecomastia. Right, psychosis and as well as gynecomastia, right? So these are all the adverse effects that has also been reported with this drug. So let me summarize up to here. Now this isoniazid, this is a part of the multi-drug therapy for tuberculosis, and it is also the drug of choice for prophylaxis solely. That means an individual drug can be given for prophylaxis. Now it is also used for the treatment of latent tuberculosis. And if you take the resistance to this isoniazid, this resistance, it can be due to the mutation of the KatG gene or mutation of the INHA. And due to mutation of the KatG gene, that will lead to the development of the high level resistance, whereas the mutation in INHA, it confers the cross resistance to the ethionamide. And if you take the adverse effect, it causes the peripheral neuritis that can be prevented and treated by pyridoxine, and it is a hepatotoxic drug, and this can also cause hemolysis in G6PD deficiency patients, and this incidence of the hepatotoxicity increases with age, increases with daily alcohol consumption, and it also is seen more in the postpartum period, that is 3 months after the delivery. And this isoniazid, it also inhibits the monoamino oxidase A, thus it can result in the cheese reaction. And the other adverse effects include the rash, fever, anemia, optic atrophy, seizures, lupus-like syndrome in case of slow acetylators, psychosis and gynecomastia has been reported with this particular drug.